Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Cutting Through the Bullshit. I am your host, Dr. Stephanie Snyder, and I am a high-performance mentor. Through my unique blend of strategy, mindset, and intuition, I help men and women to cut through the BS in order to create the life and business they desire. Today, I'm excited about this topic today. It came to me yesterday when I was hanging out with my kids in the backyard, and my youngest, her birthday was this past weekend. She turned 7, and when I was out shopping for her gifts, I thought, what a great thing to get a 7-year-old, a hula hoop. We've had them before. They haven't lasted very long, but I thought, you know what? Let's get a hula hoop. And so we were in the backyard, and everybody was giving their, taking a go at the hula hoop. Turns out we're all not very good at it. I used to be awesome at it. It was also a priority for me to be awesome at it years ago when I was a kid. And so we're all doing the hula hoop. But one thing that I am still awesome at, while I'm not great at hula hooping around my hips, I am really great at running the hula hoop around my feet and jumping it. Now, I may date myself a little bit here, but if you grew up in the 80s, early 90s, there was a toy called the Skip It. And the Skip It would go around one ankle and you would have to hop over it with the other foot, right? And there was a little counter on it. It would count how many skips you had. It was really quite fun, right? And so that's what I was doing with the hula hoop. And my girls the two little ones got wide-eyed and they were like, oh, can we try that? I was like, yeah, absolutely. And so I did have to show them a few times how I was doing it and try to explain it to them. And they started to get the hang of it. But the reason I tell this story is because they were able to do it because they believed it was possible. And that is the topic of today's conversation is, do you believe that it's actually possible? The life that you want to create, the thing that you're calling in, the goal that you're trying to achieve, logically, you may think that it's achievable. But how's your belief system? How does that goal, how does that destination feel in your body? Does it feel possible to you? Because if it doesn't feel possible to you, you're going to really, really struggle to achieve it. Another short story about this. So years and years and years ago, they, and by I mean the athletic community, believed that it was impossible to break a 4-minute mile. Had never been done. They didn't think men could actually run that fast. This is for men breaking the 4-minute mile mark, right? And for years, everybody would come close, but no one would actually break it. And then I don't remember the guy's name. I should have definitely checked with it. He broke the 4-minute mile record. And then all of a sudden, all of these other people were breaking that record. So it was one guy who did it, who believed it was possible for him, even though it had never, ever, ever been done before. Believed it was possible for him, and then all of a sudden, all of these other people were also able to break a 4-minute mile. Because they were like, oh, well, somebody else did it. It's absolutely possible now, right? So the thing that you're trying to achieve, whether it's paying off debt, whether it's a 10K month, whether it's $1 million month, whether it's receiving new clients, whether it's working part-time and making a full-time income, whatever that thing is, I can almost guarantee you somebody else has already done it before. And the beauty of that is that that person that already did it has something in common with you. I was reading this book recently. It was called Fuck the How, I think that was the name of the book. And she talked about this part where when you start to believe it's possible, you've got to look for proof of that. And one way that we look for proof of that is through other people. Do we know someone else who already did this? Do we know someone else who already achieved this? And do I have something in common with that person, right? It can be as simple as you both have eyes, right? But the thing that stops us from logically knowing that something's possible to believing and feeling that it's possible is our limiting beliefs. These stories that we tell ourselves about why we're not able to do it. And when I work with my clients on this belief factor, one of the things I like to play with is this really fun question where sometimes we get stuck in this what if it doesn't happen, and we can spiral in the wrong direction, right? But I love sharing with people the idea of what if it did happen. It's just a simple switch of that question. What if it did happen? What would that open up for you? What kind of opportunities would that bring to you if that thing actually happened? And so when we're combating, I don't want to say combating, but when we're working through these limiting beliefs, there's a lot of stories that come up. And the easiest way to figure out what those stories are is to ask yourself why. So let's say you want to achieve a 20K month. Grab a notebook and say, okay, 20K month is possible. And maybe part of your mind is like, actually it's not possible. Okay, why is it not possible? Well, maybe it's not possible right now because you don't currently have any clients, right? Or maybe it's not possible, maybe the why is because you've never achieved it before, you're not sure how you're going to do it, right? The how ultimately becomes a stopping point for people because they think they have to have the whole thing figured out before they can even believe that it's possible. And it stops them from even trying something because they're not entirely sure how it's going to happen, right? I've shared about this on previous podcast episodes, but you don't have to know how it's going to work to believe that it's possible for you. You do not know exactly how it's going to work in order to believe that it's possible for you. So when my kids were messing with the hula hoop, I can guarantee you they weren't sitting there trying to figure out physically how they were going to be able to do it. They were like, oh, well, we watched mom, she did this thing, I'm going to give it a try, see if that works for me, right? They didn't sit there and analyze, oh, I don't know that I'm actually going to be able to do this hula hoop thing, and what does it mean about me if I don't do the hula hoop thing? And like, none of that was happening. They were like, oh, that's really cool, I want to try it, let me see. And they believed it was possible for them because they saw me do it. The thing that you want is 100% possible. 1,000% possible. But you have to believe that it's possible for you. And that takes looking at those limiting beliefs. What's coming up for you when you have this idea of, okay, let's take, for instance, me running a 4-minute mile. Okay, why can I not run a 4-minute mile? Well, I don't have enough training right now. And quite frankly, I don't know that I would want to run a 4-minute mile. That's really fucking fast. I don't think women have run it that fast. I don't know. Maybe they have. I'm not entirely sure. I should check that on this. But nevertheless, there are a ton of limiting beliefs for me in running a 4-minute mile, especially because I just ran an 8:32 mile this morning, and it felt fast. So a 4-minute mile, I mean, I can't even wrap my head around that right now. So I'm not going to spend much time thinking about that. Now, could I get to a 6-minute mile again? Yes, absolutely. My PR is sub 6. I think my PR is actually a 5:09. I ran it in high school, right? So I have the potential to get back to a 6-minute mile. Absolutely, I could. I don't know that I want to. I don't know that it's going to happen, but I could train towards that if I really wanted to, right? And I would make it happen if I really wanted it to happen. But here's the thing. A lot of the times the thing that we're going for, we don't even really want. Because we're not willing to do the uncomfortable things. Talked about this again in a previous podcast episode. If you're not willing to get uncomfortable, you're probably not going to achieve the thing. Because it's going to take you being uncomfortable. It's going to take you doing something else, right? But this idea of whether or not it's possible, you're not even going to take an attempt on it unless you feel it's possible for you. So you've got to look at that limiting belief. What's coming up for you when you say, I want to receive a 20K month? The only excuse that comes up for me is I don't know how. And I know that is my stopping point. And so I just go, you know what? I don't know how, but I'm going to show up. I'm going to do the things that I know. And I believe it's possible. I've gotten pretty close before. I believe it's possible, right? And it's that belief in myself. I don't have to know how it's going to work. I just have to believe that it's possible for me. If you are struggling with this, sit down with a notebook. What is the thing you're going towards? And ask yourself why. Why? And is that true for me? Chances are it's not true, right? For a long time, it was a worthiness thing for me. I didn't feel worthy of the thing, and so I really struggled to achieve it. Why do you not think that you could do this? And look at those things and then rewrite those stories. This is the inner work. This is the work that matters, because once you look at that limiting belief, it just kind of poofs. You shine a light on it and you're like, oh, that's silly, right? Why is that a thing, right? One of the limiting beliefs that I had for a very long time was that I was not going to be able to have a successful business because I was a mom. Kid you not. That was one of my stories. I can't do this because I'm a mom. And then I was like, you know what? I can do this because I am a mom. And instead of my excuse, it became my reason. That's going to be a full another podcast, right? So sit down with yourself. Figure out if it feels possible for you. And if it doesn't feel possible for you, ask yourself why until you get to the root of it. It may not take you very long. It may take you just a couple rounds of the why. It may take you just one why. And then you're like, oh, shoot. That's silly, right? And then just switch that belief. Turn it upside down on its head, right? So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I will definitely be back for another one. I don't even know what day it is. Today is Tuesday, I believe. Recording this on a Tuesday, it's going live on Thursday. But I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day. And always, be you, because the world needs more of you. Bye, love.